Hey guys, welcome to BP the Bible Perspective. Let's talk about Vivek's new American dream, which turns out is not so new at all. Now, before we get into it, please like and share this video and subscribe to BP the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome.
Young people from all over the globe are joining up to fight for the future.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part too.
They're doing their part. Are you? Join the mobile infantry and save the world. Service guarantees citizenship.
All right, you just saw a clip from the movie Starship Troopers. Now, this movie came out in 1997. And in that, the kind of premise of the movie is that in this global world, in this federation, the way you get citizenship is by merit. You know, you have to do something. You have to do your part. Serve in the military or serve in various ways. But of course, as you saw in that clip, serving in the military guarantees citizenship. Now, this is a follow-up to my Vivek Ramaswamy. He's telling us who he is, and I think we should believe him. And in that last video, I kind of showed you some clips, and I'm going to go back to one of those clips and highlight it because I want to kind of explore his vision of what the American dream is, or what the new American dream. See, as it turns out, it seems to me his vision of the new American dream would involve changing the Constitution of the United States. But first, let me let you hear his campaign ad when he announced his run for the presidency.
That's why today I'm announcing my run for President of the United States. This isn't just a political campaign. This is a cultural movement to create a new dream for the next generation of Americans. And this time around, it isn't just about money. It's about the unapologetic pursuit of excellence in our country. It means you believe in merit, that you get ahead in this country not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character and your contributions. It means you believe the people who we elect to run the government are the ones who actually run the government, not federal bureaucrats who multiply themselves like a national cancer that's now metastasizing to the private sector. It means that the best ideas win instead of getting censored. It means you don't have to choose between speaking your mind freely and putting food on the dinner table. It means you believe these ideals form the backbone of the greatest nation on earth, that the rest of the world still looks up to as its example, not the Soviet Union in the last century and not communist China in this one either. That is the new American dream.
Now, what's so new about this? Why does he think that's a new American dream? Well, it turns out he has some pretty peculiar ideas about how do you achieve that, and more so, who achieves it. So I want to go back to a clip that I played of his interview on CNN, and then I want to come back and dissect it. All right, so here we go. Where we at?
Issue. This is also something that your opponents, Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump, have called for, including DeSantis very recently, which is an end to birthright citizenship. What's your position on that? Would you end birthright citizenship?
I think for a period of time, I think it's going to be necessary in this country because we have an influx of migrants across that southern border, 14,000 plus per day by some estimates crossing that southern border.
Now, I said this in the last video. First and foremost, Vivek is to me, an excellent politician, even though he's not a politician yet. My point is he knows how to present himself. He is skilled. He is extremely educated, as well as extremely accomplished. He's wealthy. I think hidden behind all of what he's talking about right here, that his idealism is going to serve wealthy people most, okay? I really don't think he's going to do anything about people who are not wealthy. All right, that's my opinion. But when he talks about this influx, as he says, of migrant, he gives the illusion that 14,000 migrants are crossing the border and flooding the country. That's not true. Most of the 14,000 migrants that he's talking about that cross the border are stopped and sent back. In other words, the U.S. border is stopping them, so they're not being over. The border is not being overrun. Like a what they call those New York Christmas specials, the Black Friday special videos you see where people are bursting through the stores to get the Christmas sales. No, most of them are stopped at the border. Let's continue here.
That is not the rule of law. That is the abandonment of the rule of law. So if migrants are coming illegally, intentionally, to be able to establish an illegal toehold in the United States.
Now how does he know that, first of all? Now, he just said 14,000 were crossing the border. 14,000 come illegally. So again, the illusion is that the 14,000 was making it across the border, settling into the country. But then he goes on and says that the 14,000, they come here with the purpose, right? Now remember, his whole platform is this new American dream. They don't fit that new American dream. And so you have to demonize the people. In other words, they're not coming here looking for a better life. And even if you want to say they're coming here illegally, okay, I granted that. I've never said that I'm supporting illegal immigrants flooding into this country. I'll say it right up front. I do believe in the rule of law. I certainly think there should be a pathway for citizenship for those who are seeking, as Vivek's parents did, a new life, a better life in America. You know, when you saw his campaign ad, he talks about the American dream, the American exceptionalism. Well, wouldn't you want that if you live in an inferior culture, oppressive culture? So now you have people who are coming here trying to get that. Now he's demonizing them by saying they're coming here to destroy the nation, to take the nation down. That's just simply not true.
Then I think that that's something that we should not abide in this country.
And we should
to the
say
contrary,
that
I take
you
that
were,
issue one step even.
We should say also, I mean, both of your parents are immigrants to the United States, so you would have been a beneficiary of birthright citizenship, but you now are saying you would ban that for people coming into the country. And what is the period of time for which that would be the case?
For people coming into the country illegally. That's the key distinction. And people make this mistake all the time. And I think you got to be really careful when you talk about the difference between legal immigrants and illegal immigrants. One is founded on following the rule of law. The other is founded on breaking the rule of law.
That might be the case, but I'm just saying that
border
birthright
security and immigration are not the same issue.
What I'm saying is that birthright citizenship, as it is currently in law, does not make that distinction between whether that person was born to someone legally or not. So you are saying that even though birthright citizenship for you was something that was in play, you would take it off the table now. And my question is also, how long would that be the case? And also, how would you do it? Would you go to Congress for a constitutional amendment?
So she laid out some good points here, some good questions. So one, I think she pointed out his hypocrisy, especially on the issue of birthright citizenship. So her conversation is not about illegal immigrants crossing the border. However, the issue is that even if an illegal immigrant crosses the border and a woman is pregnant, if they give birth on American soil, the Constitution says that anyone who is born on American soil is an American citizen. Now, he wants to demonize the child that's born, not the parents. The Constitution gives birth rights, American rights. The Constitution does. But the question is, and she asks this, would you change the Constitution? Now, I'll remind you of this, and I'll probably say this a couple of more times. He's running for the president of the United States, to be president of the United States. Now, if that's true, he's going to swear to uphold the Constitution. But what he is putting forth here is not according to the Constitution that he will eventually, if he wins, swear to keep, uphold. My question again is, what is this new American dream that he is pushing? It's not constitutional. He's not arguing for a constitutional issue here. Let's let him continue.
Well, actually, I've supported the 28th Amendment to the Constitution. I'll actually go one step further on this, Abby, is that I don't think someone, just because they're born in this country, even if they're a sixth-generation American, should automatically enjoy all the privileges of citizenship until they've actually earned it. So
now you know why I played that clip from Starship Troopers. He is not espousing a constitutional right. In other words, so now he wants to change the fabric of the Constitution. So let's let him go on.
one of the things I've said is that every high school student who graduates from high school should have to pass the same civics test that every immigrant has to pass in order to become a citizen of this country. I believe that there are civic duties attached to citizenship, so much so that I don't think you should automatically get your right to vote at age 18 unless you have passed that same citizenship test that immigrants have had to pass,
Right.
or else have.
All right, so let me ask the question then. He says that you should not be given citizenship rights if you don't pass the test. Well, here's my question then. Is there a score attached to this? For example, all I need is 70% to get a driver's license. So what is his score? How high of a score do you have to be in order to get citizenship or citizenship rights? Now, how about this? Is the higher the score, the more privilege you get? So, for example, if you get a 70, you get certain level of privileges, as opposed to the one who gets 100, they get more privileges? How do you manage this? And remember, in order to get even to that point, you have to change the Constitution of the United States. And I'll say it again, the difference between his ideology and those of the Founding Fathers is that the Founding Fathers wrote the Constitution, they just violated the Constitution when it came to slavery. He's talking about changing the Constitution, changing the very principles of the Constitution. That's a big problem here. Let's let him finish up.
Serve the country.
Understood.
This is part of my broader pro-civic vision.
I understand that, although I think there are some questions about why younger Americans would have less citizenship rights than older Americans, but I do want to move on here.
All right. So I think, to me, that raises some dangerous points. When people like Vivek, who is very wealthy, their ideology reflects that. And as I said before, they then seek to change the nation. Now, the Constitution, I showed the clip in the last video when he was at Turning Point USA. And I wonder how many people in that audience would then, even in that audience, the white audience, how many of them would pass this test for citizenship? You see, when you talk about citizenship, then let's go across the nation. And you look at rural, for example, rural America. Not just black people. How about white people in Appalachia, for example? Would they pass the test that he is referring to? Now, another thing is that if he was able to then successfully become president and then successfully change the Constitution of the United States, will he then take away rights? For example, if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, you then go around and go, do you know these civic duties? Do you know what the immigrants know? And then if you don't know them, do you take the rights away until they can obtain them? See, how far do you go with this? See, to me, laced behind a lot of this nice, fanciful talk, and he is an excellent orator. Remember, he's an extremely intelligent man. Laced behind all that, to me, is some clearly, to me, in my opinion, some dangerous ideology if he was to ever get into power. I happen to think he's not going to make it that far. And I just told you those two reasons why I don't think he's ever going to make the president. But it is scary to think you got a person who is certainly gaining support. And I think his numbers are going to climb. I just don't think they're going to climb high enough. But the idea is that when people listen to them, are they really hearing him? All right, guys, that is my perspective. Don't forget to like and share this video and subscribe to BP the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. Like to hear what you have to say and also dialogue with it. All right, guys, see you in the next video.